Isaiah 40 and 31. But they that wait upon thy power shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. And as a child I thought, understood despair. When I became a man, I put the childish things away. The time has come for us to armor up and operate. To armor rules like mine, let the kingdom mount up, mount up, mount up. First verse is Zephaniah chapter 2 is requires we mounted up tighter than pliers without all the liars. That big and holy world, the whole world aspire. And they could detonate the weapon, set the earth on fire. But it still don't matter. Why? Cause they ain't got the highest, they ain't got a higher. The enemies wicked shy, we gon' drop them in the end like David did Goliath. Never should've tried us, getting rolled on like tires. Like what? Getting rolled on like tires, it's a futile mission they on against the savior. All the crowns that they wear on their head, he finna take them and give them to us. Heed the words that I wrote, I feel like John the Revelator on the Isle of Patmos. Let us all alike mind link up and get this work. And those that ain't with it, do them for whatever that's worth. Calm it down with the new mind and the new map. Putting wickedness to anguish. Unity dangerous, mount up. Unity dangerous, mount up, mount up. Like what? And as a child I thought, understood despair.
As a child I thought, understood despair.
When I became a man, I put the childish things away.
When I became a man, I put the childish things away.
The time has come for us to armor up and operate.
It's time for us to armor up and operate.
To armor rules like mine, let the kingdom mount up.
Why am I my brother's keeper? Cause Yeshaya is my teacher. I recite 1,000 scriptures, it's nothing if love don't reach you. For the brothers and the sisters, all shades, sizes, and features, call it brunity. Coming together to form this mutiny. Community, our highest forever, he's our immunity. You soon to see, the soul is forever, that means eternity. So learn to be of one mind, cause our Lord our God is one time. And it's all so sharp and draw lines. And I hope I'm yours cause you're mine. What? And I hope I'm yours cause you're mine. A weapon form that's piercing where the higher is born. It's like we spying in the lands where the giants were spawned. If you was Joshua, leading like a higher was watching ya. This is where we take a stand, cause we formed in his hand. We build the brethren from the floor, cause we mounted up for war. Let your heart faint not, cause a higher one before. We commanded cause we sanctified. The tears will be cast aside. This is prophesied. It's a genocide. This ain't war, it's a genocide. It's a genocide.
And as a child I thought, understood despair.
As a child I thought, understood despair.
When I became a man, I put the childish things away.
When I became a man, I put the childish things away.
The time has come for us to armor up and operate.
It's time for us to armor up and operate.
To armor rules like mine, let the kingdom mount up, mount up,
When I was out inside the world, I used to play them games. But now that I'm inside the truth, I learned I had to put away the childish things. I pulled my pants up and started walking like a king. I was in my 30s with the mindset of a teen. Thought I knew it all, but I ain't know nada. Except for whipping narcotics over the stove, a hood Harry Potter. Look at me now, I'm walking with my father going in. Jumped in the war, put out my sword like I'm a mighty man. What? Like I'm one of the mighty men. The same blood pumping in the flow through Gideon. Came from a different tribe, but we still the same descent. Fight the Yasha, all the praise are higher for the awakening. Use me as a weapon, Lord, piercing who you aiming at. We will not lose, I refuse, I ain't claiming that. You raising priests and warriors, show me where the training at. I ain't backing down, send me out on the front line. Picking up my cross now, tell me when it's my time. What? Like, tell me when it's my time. Tell me when it's my time.
And as a child I thought, understood despair.
As a child I thought, understood despair.
When I became a man, I put the childish things away.
When I became a man, I put the childish things away.
The time has come for us to armor up and operate.
It's time for us to armor up and operate.
To armor rules like mine, let the kingdom mount up, mount up, mount up, mount up.
BAMA, it's a straight up blessing. I'm lifting up my voice. Yes, your honor, confession. No matter if we do it, truth, praise, music for brethren. I cherish all these moments when we get it in sessions. We can get it in lessons. Holla, hop, and flexing. A higher will be done, kinda gospel we spread. I'm telling y'all right now, commend it. Love your brethren. opportunity. Where my bruise at? It's time to mount up. Like what? Where my bruise at? We gotta mount up. Second, 10, 2, 3 times I buy enemy. I'm telling my brother we got it with all of the vision. The symbol with minus and heat. Hamashiach set us free for us to roll as a team, not for all this bickering. Come on, bruise, let's think. For we end up stuffed in a fire hole. Better gain control, or you lose your soul. You know it's like whoa. We gotta mount up, just like the troops, and let people know right now that we be the living proof. Like what? We be the living proof. Truth. What? Gotta mount up.
Like what? And as a child I thought, understood despair.
As a child, I thought, understood the stairs.
When I became a man, I put the childish things away.
When I became a man, I put the childish things away.
The time has come for us to armor up and operate.
The time for us to armor up and operate.
To armor rules of like man, let the kingdom mount up.
Mount up, mount up, mount up.
Philippians 2:2. Fulfill ye my joy, that ye be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord and of one mind. Carry down Mahaya Bahasham and Shah Mashiach. Wap with Dashima. Mount up, mount up, mount up. One.
In the name of Ahaya, God shall be saved.
Truth Music Monday, let's get it. Read the Bible. Leviticus 19:2. Speak unto the congregation of the children of Israel, and say unto them, ye shall be holy, for I the Most High your power am holy. Exodus chapter 18, verse 20. And thou shalt teach them ordinances and law, and shalt shew them the way therein they must walk. Must walk. Must means you don't have a choice. Must means there isn't any other way. You must walk this way. Ain't no two ways about it. You must. And the word that they must do. And why must we do this work? Leviticus 20:26. And ye shall be holy unto me, holy unto the Most High thy power. Separated, set apart. For I thy power am holy. Separated from the world. That's why, because he is separated from the world. So whatever the world is doing, we got to be doing it differently. Because he has done what? And have severed you from other people. That's why we got to do things differently from other people, because he does things differently from other gods. We are separated unto him. We have to be walking with him. That ye should be mine. That's what make us his, period. Never mind what your mouth's saying, what your hands doing, where your feet walk, how you operate. That's what make you his. That's what determines whether or not you walking with him.
Said I'm walking with you, I ain't wasting no time. Both feet in, I'ma fall in line. I would never cross you, never in a lifetime. Happy that I found you, you're so divine. Said I'm walking with you, I ain't wasting no time. Both feet in, I'ma fall in line. I would never cross you, never in a lifetime. Happy that I found you, you're so divine. I put my trust in you, Father, I know that you're here. As long as you are around, I have nothing to fear. Getting myself together, ain't wasting no time. Knowing it won't be long before it's my time. Reaching out to your people, I'm spreading the news. The kingdom of heaven is at hand, repent or lose. Wouldn't you like to reside inside of peace forever? Without a worry in your mind, knowing that you're special. Gotta make it out of here. Since I met you, I've been filled with a lot of chips. Full of joy, I've been smiling through my hardships. They say they love me, I can tell that they're fraudulent. I can tell they're being cautious. The hate within them make me sick, I'm feeling nauseous. Lead the 11 and they see you at the crossing. Follow your child to the kingdom that he brought me. Ain't wasting no time, we can both feed in. I'ma fall in line, I would never cross you, never in a lifetime. Happy that I found you, you're so divine. So I'm walking with you, I ain't wasting no time. We can both feed in, I'ma fall in line, I would never cross you, never in a lifetime. Happy that I found you, you're so divine. Okay. I walk with you, offering my life. As I walk with you, Father, give you my mind. As I walk with you, Father, use my time, cause I know I gotta grind. For the kingdom to come, I know it ain't done. It's time for us to go into the nation. The peace of God's go, like your shot come. And now it's time for us to gird up and run. We must come back to your laws, commandments. Come back to the laws, y'all. And stand tall. In the fire we stand. In the fire we stand. You said your son. It ain't no time for us to go. Take your hand and we will go and walk with you, yeah.
In the cool of the day. Shoot peace to my brother, this is not a problem. No. They want me to place my brother up before my father. No. Never lose sight of the one that woke us up and called us. Nah, bro, I ain't here to please no man. Not even if that man me, please understand. They let my brunity fool them, they better think again. The depths of hell is the pit of the soul's trash can. Wickedness swallowing this man, that man. Scouring, devouring like pellets to a Pac-Man. Walking with a higher liberated, yeah. And we speak with purpose of edification, yeah. I'm right behind your father, focused on the heel of your feet. And I shall not depart from it till our mission complete. Cause I know where they lead. You got your little ways to show me I'm doing the right things. Hear it clear when you spoke it, then I wouldn't trade it for the world. I don't want it cause I got a glimpse of the paradise where we going. It's relaxing and peaceful and wild. The colors, look at the fruit of this tree. Can I grab one of them?
Walking with you, ain't wasting no time. And both feet in, I'ma fall in line. I would never cross you, never in a lifetime. Happy that I found you, you're so divine. So I'm walking with you, ain't wasting no time. And both feet in, I'ma fall in line. I would never cross you, never in a lifetime. Happy that I found you, you're so divine. All the times that you were here to save me, you kept me safe from the police, you didn't let them take me. You spared my life, time after time again. When I look back, I see you were my only friend. Wiping tears from my eyes whenever I cried. Got me close by your side instead of the VI. And you meant it, look at me now, I'm stronger than ever. You are the source, you the strength of my life forever. I will honor you for the rest of my days. Bound by this love, following your ways. Put on the field, walking in the fruit. Doing the women's sin, providing you proof. Gotta make it out of here. Since I met you, I've been filled with a lot of shit. Full of joy, I be smiling through my hardships. They say they love me, I can tell that they fraudulent.
Right on trail. Hello world. Shalom. See, men pretend, but the Most High don't lie. Don't ever let nothing men do turn you against the glory of the Most High. The higher is his name. And this thing we do in the character of Yeshua, the Christ. Yeah. Roman. 2 Corinthians 7:1. Having therefore these promises, dearly beloved, let us cleanse ourselves from all filthiness of the flesh and spirit, perfecting holiness in the fear of the Most High. 2 Corinthians 13:11. Finally, brethren, farewell. Be perfect. Be of good comfort. Be of one mind. Live in peace. And the God of love and peace shall be with you.
Romans chapter 13 verse 8. Owe no man anything, but to love one another. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. You're my brother. You're my sister. You're my neighbor. You're my people.
Yahweh, Hafapalau, the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Shalom, Israel, shalom. First, giving all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Hamashem, like Yahweh Shai. The world knows Yahweh is God. The world knows Yahweh Shai is Jesus. Hamashiach will be the Christ. And all praises to the Most High, man. We back in it. Another Shabbat, another day to repent, another day to come closer to the Most High. Hey, and Salaki, I got one more thing to change. It's not the Torah. Salaki, Israel. Have compassion on your brother, which is the title of this lesson, man. Our praises to the Most High. It's what is true brotherly love, brotherly and sisterly love. Right? So, what is true brotherly and sisterly love? Right? Because, beyond a popular belief, in Israel, sometimes we get on the fuzzy side. We say we love our brother, we say we love our sister, we're trying to keep the commandments, but somewhere I think it's lost in translation, right? We know the precepts, we know all the breakdowns, but it's just something we missing, which through the Spirit, I feel like it's not we looking for one more brother to seal the elect. We're looking for one more brother or sister to seal the general population. I feel like we kind of got all the pieces together, but when you shake it up and drink it, it just don't taste like Kool-Aid. You got colored water, you got the flavor, you even got the syrup or the sugar in there. But when you put it all together and shake it up, it kind of don't taste like Kool-Aid. So we're going to try through the Spirit, figure out. And by the way, this is only my part 1 because it was just too much, too many precepts, too much understanding. I couldn't fit it in one lesson. So it's going to have to be 2, possibly 3 through the Spirit, depending on how the Most High do it. So with all that being said, I'm bring out my opening precept. My opening precept going to come from Romans. Like our young babies design came out, chapter 13. And we're going to start at verse 8. And we're going to read through verse 10. Romans chapter 13. Salakia Israel. And we're going to go to chapter 13, verse 8 through 10. Through the Spirit. Our praises to the Most High, man. And it reads, owe no man anything but to love one another. So the Most High said the debt that we owe each other is straight love, and it's straight like that, man. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law, right? Watch this. For this thou shalt not commit adultery. Shouldn't be sleeping with your brother or wife. Thou shalt not kill. You shouldn't be killing your brother or your sister. Thou shalt not steal. You shouldn't be stealing from your brother or your sister. It says, thou shalt not bear false. You shouldn't be lying to your brother or your sister. These are not love. Thou shalt not covet. You shall not covet your brother or your sister goods or things of your brother. If there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this, saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Love worketh no ill towards his neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law. Right? Because love is the fulfilling of the law. If you properly love your brother or your sister, you fulfilled all the law. And that's Yahweh Shai. So without further ado, let's get into this thing, man. Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 22. Right? The book of Matthew, chapter 22. And we're going to start at verse 36. Right? Because I love the Most High. Right? Because he literally put it in Yahweh Shai's spirit, right? To kind of give us an understanding of something. Right? So Matthew chapter 22, and we'll start at the 36th verse. Right? So we know, right? So it's the book of Matthew 22, 36. It says, Master, which is the great commandment in the law? So if you don't know this account, this is a Pharisee that actually is coming and he's actually tempting and making a mockery of, trying to make a mockery of Yahweh Shai. Right? So watch what Yahweh Shai say. Verse 37. Yahweh Shai said unto him, thou shalt love the Adonai Yahweh with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. So he's literally letting you know that the first and great commandment is honoring the Most High Yahweh. Right? It says, verse 39, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these 2 commandments hang all the law and the prophets. Right? So really, through deep saying, dark sayings, right? He was literally letting you know, right? The 2 greatest commandments really is to love Yahweh and to love your brother. Where your big brother would be Yahweh Shai. So that second greatest commandment would be to love Yahweh Shai. Because we know in order to get to the Father, you got to go through Yahweh Shai, right? Right? He said, in order to get to the Father, let me pull it out real quick. I got a precept, right? Right, John 14:6, real quick, through the Spirit. Right, because Yahweh Shai showed us this, right? So that's why the 2 greatest commandments will be Yahweh and then through Yahweh Shai. your brother, right? But we know it's a double saying, right? Like Job says, sometimes the saying is double unto its double, man, to the meaning, right? So St. John chapter 14, and I'm gonna start at verse 6 through the Spirit real quick. I'm gonna go to verse 5 to just give you context. It's the book of St. John chapter 14 and verse 5. It says, Thomas saith unto him, Adonai, we know not whither thou goest, and how can we know the way? Yahushua saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. Right? So he's literally letting you know that in order to get to the Father, you got to get through the Son. It's so order. You can't just jump and say, I'm going to the Father. Nobody can just go to the Father. Right? You have to, there's an order. The Most High always have order. The order is the Father, Yahushua, the man, the woman, the children. So it's that order. You can't just jump a step. You can't go, I'm just gonna go to Yahweh. No, you can't do that. You can't do it. You just, unless you don't believe in the Bible. And then that's blasphemy. Right? So we're gonna pick it up in Corinthians chapter 1, the book of Colossians, chapter 1. Right? And we're gonna start at the 7th verse. What? But real quick, the phrase like unto. So I do want to get that understanding real quick, because he did say that I'm like unto the Father, right? So let me pull that back up in Matthew. Right, because in Matthew 22, he says something. He said the second is like unto the first, right? Right. He says, he said the first great commandment, and the second is like unto it, right? So what does that phrase like unto it mean? I gotta spell it all out.
Like.
So it's like having the same characteristics or qualities as, similar to, right? So similar to, in the manner of, in the same way, or to the same degree as, in a way appropriate to. So it says such as one might expect from, in the characteristics. So the first one is like unto, or has the same characteristics or quality. So we know that in one sense of it, he's talking about the Father and all your brethren. But then on a deeper sense, he's talking about the Father and the Son. He's talking about love the Father, and the second commandment, you have to love the Son, right? And how do we know? We're going to get into it deeper in the lesson, right? So this is the book of Colossians chapter 1, and I'm going to start at verse 7, right? And it reads, it says, as ye also learn of Epaphras, our dear fellow servant, who is for you a faithful minister of a Mashiach, who also declared unto us your love in the Spirit. So he declared to you what the love is in the Spirit, right? Verse 9, for this cause we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you, and to desire that ye might be filled, I'm sorry, that you might be filled with the knowledge of his will in all wisdom and spiritual understanding, right? So my question would be, what is the spiritual understanding, right? What would be the spiritual understanding, and what is the knowledge and will, right? So let's break this down slowly. The spiritual understanding. Let's go to Romans chapter 7 and verse 14. It's like Israel. Sometimes I'll be forgetting to take my mute off, so I don't know how much of it didn't get caught, but through the Spirit. And keep going. It's the book of Romans, chapter 7, and I'm going to start at verse 14, right? And it reads, "For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin." Right? So to get that spiritual understanding that he's talking about in Colossians, right? That you might be filled with the knowledge of his will and spiritual understanding. That spiritual understanding would be if you keep the law. Because once you start to keep the law, you'll get that spiritual understanding. Let me show you real quick. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 1. I'm going to start at verse 26. Right? It's the book of Sirach, chapter 1 and verse 26. And it reads, if thou desire wisdom, keep the commandments, and Yahweh shall give her unto thee. So, hey, if you're desiring the wisdom, that's what it was talking about in Colossians. If you're desiring this wisdom, if you want this spiritual understanding, hey, you got to keep the law, right? And then it says, what is the knowledge and the will? Right? What is the knowledge and the will? Right? So let's go to Romans 3 and 19. It's the book of Romans, chapter 3 and verse 19. It says, now we know that what things whatsoever the law saith. So you know what the law say. And if you don't, then that's why we got the law class right after I do this. You can kind of get your spiritual understanding with the law. It says, now we know that what things soever the law saith. It saith to them who are under the law that every mouth may be stopped and all the world may become guilty before Yahweh. So really, hey, the real reason why you got to understand the law is because, hey, so that way you will know what you did. And there's no justifying the wrong things that you've done. So that's why you have to know what you're doing, right? Verse 20, therefore by the deeds of the law, there shall no flesh be justified in his sight. For the law is the knowledge of sin. So literally, you have to know the law so you can have the understanding of sin. Where you know where you went short, right? Real quick, I got a quick precept, right? Right? It's the book of 1 Timothy 1 and 9. Real quick. It's the book of 1 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 9. It says, knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man. So, hey, if your spirit is righteous and you're going to treat your brother and your sister righteous, hey, the law ain't for you. Watch this. But for the lawless and disobedient, for the ungodly and for sinners, for unholy and profane, for murderers of fathers and murderers of mothers, and for manslayers, right? It says, for hungmongers, for them that defile themselves with mankind, for manslaughterers, for liars, for perjured persons, and if there be any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine, meaning if you hate your brother, meaning if you don't love your brother, that will be contrary to the sound doctrine that the Most High gave us, right? So now let's go back to the will. What was the will of that? But before we get to the will, let's go a little deeper into Romans 3 and 19, and let's pick it up in Leviticus 4 and 22. Right, real quick. Leviticus 4 and 22, and then we're going to read 22 and 23, and we're going to skip down to 27 and 28. Right? Because what was he saying in the law? Paul was only speaking the law. So if you don't understand Paul, thinking Paul was speaking contrary, you don't understand what he was saying. Right? Because Paul was only speaking the law whenever he talked. So the book of Leviticus chapter 4 and verse 22. What was Paul speaking in Romans 3 and 19? It says, when a ruler have sinned and done something through ignorance against any of the commandments of Yahweh his power, concerning things which should not be done, and is guilty. Or if his sin wherein he have sinned come to his knowledge, he shall bring his offering a kid of the goats, a male without blemish. Verse 27. And if any one of the common people sin through ignorance, while he doeth somewhat against any of the commandments of Yahweh, concerning things which ought not to be done, and be guilty, or if his sin which he hath sinned come to his knowledge, then he shall bring his offering a kid of the goats, a female without blemish, for his sin which he hath sinned. So it's literally letting you understand what Paul was saying in Romans. All right, let's pull that back up. Right? Because it said when you bring it to your knowledge. Right? So what was Paul saying in Romans? 3:19. It says, now we know what things soever the law saith, right? So that law he was saying was like, if you did not know, it says, it said to them who are under the law, first it was the Israelites, that every mouth may be stopped and all the world may become guilty before Yahweh, right? And that's why I brought out that First Timothy. Therefore, by the deeds of the law, there shall no flesh be justified in his sight. For by the law is the knowledge of sin. So all he was quoting was Leviticus, saying that if you don't know something, then you need to find out what it is you're doing. So that way you will have knowledge on it, and then now you can properly repent and then properly convert. So Paul was not teaching nothing but what the law said, man. Right? And what is that will that is in Colossians that he was talking about? Right? He says knowledge of his will. So you got to have the knowledge of the Most High will and all wisdom and spiritual understanding. So what is that will? Right? Real quick. Let's go to Leviticus. Let's go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 1 through 3. Right? Because Paul's not speaking nothing but the law. You have to understand that. But if you don't understand Paul, because he's a little deep, then that means you need to first get into the law. Get more understanding of the law, and then you can kind of spot what Paul was talking about within the law. So it's the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 1. And it says, furthermore, then we beseech you, brethren, and exhort you by the Adawan Yahushai, that as ye have received of us how ye ought to walk and to please Yahweh, so ye were bound more and more. Right? That wasn't none but what First John was saying. Watch real quick through the Spirit. 1 John chapter 2 and verse 6. See, everybody's only saying the same thing. Right? They're only saying the same thing. It was just repeated because, we stiff neck. We got to hear it over and over again to get it. Right? I'll start up. At verse 4. Right? Let me start up a little bit so you can get the whole context. Verse 3. Right? So 1 John chapter 2 and verse 3 through verse 6. And it reads, and hereby we do know that we know him if we keep his commandments. Right? So you know Yahweh if you keep his commandments, and Yahweh Shai, because we're showing you that law, that the two great commandments is Yahweh and Yahweh Shai on a deeper note, but as actually loving your fellow brother and your fellow sisters on the other level, on the two folds, like Job said, is double unto his double. Right? Let me get that real quick. Right, so you know what I'm talking about. Real quick. Right, Job chapter 42. Oh yeah, Job 11 and 16. It's like Israel. Job 11 and 16. Job 11 and 6, I'm sorry. It's the book of Job, chapter 11 and verse 6. It says, and that he would show thee the secrets of wisdom, right? So when you keep the commandments, the Most High is going to start showing you the secrets of wisdom, that they are double to that which is. So sometimes he may be talking about a tree, and it's a literal tree. But then sometimes he might talk about a tree, and it may be referring to a man. He may talk about a beast, it may be a beast. But then he may talk about a beast, and it may be referring to a lawless man. It says, and that he would show the secrets of wisdom, that they are double to that which is. Know therefore that Yahweh is active of thee less than thine iniquity deserveth, which means that he give us more than what our sin allows us to be able to be afforded. But because the Most High has patience, he has mercy, he has grace, and he kind of gives us things because he loves us, right? Which going back to what we're going into, that, hey, we got to love our brother as we love the Most High, man, right? So this is the book of 1 John chapter 2 and verse 3. And it says, hereby we do know that we know him, so you know the Most High, if we keep his commandments. He that saith, I know him, you say you know the Most High, and keep him not his commandments, is a liar. Let me reread that. He that saith, I know him, you say, man, I know the Most High. I know he loves me. I'm going to seek him, but the Most High won't allow you to find him if you don't know him. He says, he that saith, I know him, and keep him not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But whoso keepeth his word, in him verily is the love of Yahweh perfected. Hereby know we that we are in him. Watch this. This is the point. Verse 6. He that saith he abideth in him, you saying you abideth in the Most High, you abideth in Yahweh. It says, all himself also so to walk, even as he walked. So a Yahweh was that perfect example of how to walk. Now we know we might not be able to meet all the way the criteria that Yahweh did, but hey, we got to give it our best foot, man. We can't kind of just say, when we know that it say we got to honor our mother and our father, and then kind of don't keep it. Kind of know that, hey, you can't eat pork, shrimp, lobster, crab, and kind of don't keep it. Hey, you got to kind of walk that thing, man, because those are easy ones, man. Knowing the order and walking in the order, that's the easy one, man. Not marring the corners of your beard, that's kind of easy when you just let it grow. You know what I'm saying? Now, there is tougher ones. You know what I'm saying? Controlling your anger, that ain't so easy. You know what I'm saying? But put a friend shirt on, that's kind of easy one. So, hey, the Most High kind of give us the easy ones to follow, man. So let's go back. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 1. It says, furthermore, then we beseech you, brethren, and exhort you to, by Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, I don't want Yahweh Shai, Slaki, that as we have received of us, how ye ought to walk. So that's how you're supposed to walk. Walk like Yahweh Shai walk. He's that perfect example. And to please Yahweh. How do we please him? We found that out. Hey, you got to keep the commandments. Because, hey, in pleasing him, you know him. It says, so you would abound more and more. You will be increased more and more. I brought that out in Sirach 1 and 26. If you desire more wisdom, keep the commandments. You abound more and more. Verse 2. For you know what commandments we gave you by the Adawan Yahweh. For this is the will of Yahweh, even your sanctification. Right? And what sanctification?
Sanctification.
Sanctification, the act of or making or declaring something holy, right? the action or process of being free from sin or purified, the action of causing something to be or seem morally right or acceptable, right? So A, the action or process of being free from sin or purified. That's what this one we're dealing with is. Right? So let's go back to 1 Thessalonians. It says, so 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 3. It says, for this is the will of Yahweh. Even your sanctification means your purification. You're being holy, you're set apart. That ye should abstain from fornication. And that's spiritual fornication, right? That's idolatry. Because once you're doing something contrary to the law, like not loving your brother, like not loving your sister, hey, you're a murderer, man. And you know, no murderer will get the kingdom of heaven, man. Let's pull it out real quick through the Spirit. 1 John chapter 3. Right, that's not in my law, believe it or not. Not my lesson, believe it or not. It's the book of 1 John chapter 3. I'm going to start at verse 11. Well, I start at verse 10. Right? It says, it's the book of 1 John chapter 3 and verse 10. In this the children of Yahweh are manifest, and the children of the devil. Whosoever doeth not righteousness is not of Yahweh, neither he that loveth not his brother. For this is the message that ye heard from the beginning, that we should love one another. So you got to deal with that, man. You got to kind of deal with, you got to love your brother. You got to love your sister. Because he said that was the message from the beginning. From the beginning, when the Most High created the heaven and earth and everything in it, that was the one from the beginning. Because you're really only one of two. Either you're from Cain's seed line or you're from Abel's seed line. That's it. If you're Yasharallah, you're either from the righteous seed line or the wicked one. And we see it all throughout the Bible, whether it be Cain and Abel, whether it be Isaac and Ishmael, or whether it be Jacob and Esau. We see it all through the history. It's always a righteous brother and a wicked brother. And what brother are you? Are you the brother that love your brother and your sister? Want to teach them righteousness? Want to tell them to follow the right path? Or are you that brother that say, hey, do as I say, but not as I do, and you're showing them every wicked thing underneath the sun? You're only one or the other. Right? So let's pick that back up in Colossians 1 and 9. It's the book of Colossians chapter 1 and verse 9. And it reads, for this cause we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you, and to desire that ye might be filled with the knowledge of his will in all wisdom and spiritual understanding. So see, a righteous brother and sister, they're going to pray for their righteous brother and sister. Just like Ephraim did, right? He prayed for his brothers and sisters. Verse 10, that you might walk worthy of the Adawan unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of Yahweh. Hey, so that's what we're supposed to be doing, right? We're supposed to be increasing, man, right? Hey, and how do we increase in that knowledge? How do we be filled with the knowledge of his will and all wisdom? How do we get that all wisdom? Real quick through the Spirit. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 19, right? The book of Sirach, chapter 19. And we're going to go to verse number 20. And it reads, the fear of Yahweh is all wisdom. So that all wisdom that they were talking about in Colossians, right? It says, be filled with the knowledge of his will in all wisdom. It all goes back to the law. The fear of Yahweh is all wisdom. And in all wisdom is the performance of the law. So you have to perform that thing. And the knowledge of his omnipotency. So, that right there, you're saying filled with the knowledge of his will and all wisdom. That goes back to to performing the law, man. That's how you get filled with that. So verse 10, that you might walk worthy of Yahweh unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of Yahweh. And we already told you what that knowledge is. You got to first identify sin. How do you identify sin? By the law. 1 John 3 and 4. Whosoever commits sin, real quick. Let's pull it out real quick, just for those, might be the first time. 1 John 3 and 4. Whosoever committeth sin, transgresseth also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law. So first, in order to know that you're transgressing the law, you got to know what the law is. You have to actually know what the law is. Then once you kind of know the law, then you can identify what is wrong that you're doing against the law. And then you can correct those things that you've done against the law. Right? So those are the steps. It says that you may walk worthy of Yahweh unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of Yahweh. Watch this, verse 11. Strengthened with all might, according to his glorious power, unto all patience and long suffering with joyfulness. See, because that's what our people don't want to do. We don't want to have that patience with our brother and our sister. We don't want to have that long suffering with our brother and sister. But not only any patience and not only any long suffering, but that patience and long suffering with joyfulness. But I'm going to go back to the law, right? Because everything keeps going back to the law. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, right? What got us here? And watch what the Most High said this. Deuteronomy 28, and it's like 47. One of my favorite laws out of the curses, right? So it's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 47. I'm going to start at verse 46. Watch this. And they, which is the curses, shall be upon thee for a sign, identifying marker, and for a wonder, if you wonder who we were, and upon thy seed forever. So that's why we hate our brothers and our sisters, right? Because we don't keep the commandments. How do we get out of these curses? Keep the commandments. That's why we got the evil eye, right? 54, right? But watch this. Verse 47. Because thou servest not Yahweh thy power with joyfulness, right? Ain't that what it just said in Colossians? With joyfulness? Patience and long suffering with joyfulness. Watch this. It says, because thou servest not Yahweh. So when we actually, right, because like I said, the two great commandments is the Father and the Son on a deeper level, right? So in order to get to the Father, though, we have to go through the Son. John 14 and 6. So in order to do that, we got to love our brother, right? Real quick, I got to go back real quick, man. 1 John, just so you can see what I'm talking about. Chapter 5 and verse 2. It's real easy, but we don't do it because we don't love our brother and our sister. It's the book of 1 John, chapter 5, verse 2. By this we know that we love the children of Yahweh. So first you got to love your brother and your sister. By this we know we love the children of Yahweh when we love Yahweh and keep his commandments. So, the only way to love Yahweh is to love the children of Yahweh. So watch this. So, because thou servest not Yahweh, the book of Deuteronomy 20 and 47, because thou servest not Yahweh thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things. We know what happened after that in 48. Let's go back to Colossians 1 and 10. It says, it's the book of Colossians, chapter 1 and verse 10, that ye might walk worthy of Yahweh. So hey, you got to love your brethren to walk worthy to Yahweh. You got to love your sister in order to walk worthy with Yahweh. It says that you might work worthy of Yahweh unto all pleasing. So you're not even pleasing to the Most High if you don't love them, if you don't love your brother and your sister. Being fruitful in every good work. Guess what? If you don't love your brother and your sister, you're not even fruitful in every good work. You ain't even get off second base. Matter of fact, you ain't even get off first base. Because first base is loving the Most High. Second base is loving your brethren. But guess what? He told you in 1 John that if you don't love your brethren, you don't even love him. So you ain't even make it to first base yet. It's crazy. And y'all think we selling somebody out there. You think, oh, if we just seal that last brother or sister in Yasharala, that, oh, we're going to make it. No, you ain't even sealed love yet. So what, you going to bring another brother in and hate him too? Real quick, let's look this up. Let's see what the synonym of love is. Let's go to synonyms real quick, man. Let's do this real quick. Love.
Love.
Right? So what's the opposite of love? Antonyms. Despise, dislike. Imagine that. Hate. Let me make it big so you can see it, Yasharala. So I can show you what we do when we ain't properly given the love that we supposed to be given. So the synonym I gave was love.
Love.
Right? Antonyms, which would be the opposite. Let's see if this is what Yasharala is exhibiting. Animosity. That kind of looks like that. When we kind of fight with each other on the street corners. I'm not saying no names. Let's look at it. Dislike. Yeah, that looks like that fits. Enmity. That means an enemy. You're no longer a brother or a sister. You're now an enemy of each other. Uh-oh. Hate. Remember that one in 1 John 3? If you hate your brother, you're not getting the kingdom. The opposite of love is hate. What about this one? Indifference. Just because your brother might teach something a little different or didn't pronounce something the right way or didn't have the proper understanding, instead of you pulling them to the side or messaging them in his inbox saying, brother, that ain't what it mean. When you get done with the lesson, hit me up, bro, and we can go over some precepts. I can kind of show you the proper understanding of what they were saying there. But instead of that, you want to make a video and denounce your brother, belittle your brother. So then now all of a sudden, this happens once this happens. See how the domino effect happens? First, this happened. You had an indifference. Then you had it. He made that turn into ill will. Then the ill will turned into hatred. And then hatred turned into hate. And then hate turned into enmity or an enemy. You can't make this up because this wasn't even part of my lesson. Let that sink in for a minute. I'm going to go back to it. Let that sink in for a minute, Israel. Synonyms is the same. Affection, appreciation, devotion, emotion, fondness. Oh, imagine this. Friendship. You're the most high friend if you do whatsoever he tell you. Let's get that precept real quick in John. As that sink in with you. Right? I think it's St. John chapter 10. You are my friends. Let me get it out because I don't want to take a long time with it, man. As that sink in with you. Right? Because, hey, it's deep. Right? 15. St. John 15 and 14. So I have to say, you're talking about selling the elect. You better sell the brothers that's already in this thing, the sisters that's already in this thing, because to me, y'all exhibiting a lot of hate. Just to let you know. But let's get this real quick. St. John chapter 15. Am I 15? Yep. And I'm going to start at verse 13. Start at verse 12. It's the Mashiach talking, man. It's the book of St. John chapter 15 and verse 12. This is my commandment, that ye love one another. Imagine that. As I have loved you. So, hey, man, this is nasty, man. He said that he came to magnify the law. Yahushua came to magnify the law. So he gave us another commandment. So that's 6:14. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. So let me go back to the source again. This don't look like the way he loved us. He wasn't disloyal to us. Treachery? Treachery, that's wicked. Treacherous. Get this definition, man. That's wicked. Treacherous would be betrayal, infidelity, treason, corruption. Not my Messiah. He didn't do that. He said, this is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Verse 13, he says, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Says, ye are my friends. Watch this. Hey, look, there's always a stipulation. There's always a fine print when you're signing your name. When y'all put that blood on that covenant, y'all didn't read the fine print, Yasharala. I don't think y'all saw what the fine print said. Because he said it was from the beginning. He said, I gave you no new commandment. This commandment was from the beginning in 1 John. It says, ye are my friends if you do whatsoever I command you. Watch this. Verse 15. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth. But I have called you friends. For all things that I have heard of my Father, I have made known unto you. So, hey, if you don't know Paul's writings, you should probably think, are you the Most High friend? Are you Yahweh's friend? Because then you'll get that understanding and you'll know what Paul was talking about. Just saying, food for thought. Because, hey, obviously it wasn't made known to you. Read verse 10 again. Because that's what he just said. He'll make it known to you, right? First Colossians 1 and 10, that ye might walk worthy of Yahweh unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work. Watch this. Increasing in the knowledge of Yahweh. So if you're not increasing, hey, you might want to examine yourself. Maybe you don't love your brother and your sister. That's why you ain't increasing. And from year one, when you get in year 3 and you kind of still looking like year 1, I'm just saying, you should probably examine yourself. Verse 11. right? And Salakia, you said you should be increasing, right? So real quick, let's go to Romans 1, verse 9 and 10 real quick. Romans chapter 1, verse 9 and 10. Because how do you understand Paul? With Paul. Watch this. Watch what the Most High put in Paul's spirit to write in Romans chapter 1 and verse 9. It says, for Yahweh is my witness. So, hey, Paul letting you know now, he can't lie. Hey, Yahweh is his witness right now. Whom I serve with my spirit. How do you serve the Most High with your spirit? We already went through that. Romans 7 and 14. It says, in the gospel of his son, that without ceasing, I make mention of you always in my prayers. So if you loving your brother and your sister, hey, you always make mention of them in your prayers, man. Watch this, verse 10. Making request, if by any means now at length I may have a prosperous journey by the will of Yahweh to come unto you. So, hey, he letting you know, man, that, hey, you got to be in that spirit. If you want a prosperous journey, hey, you got to kind of, without ceasing, mate, you got to talk about your brother and your sister, man. That's how you serving in the spirit, man. That's how you showing, walking, like I said in Sirach 19 and 20, man. That, hey, the commandment, that wisdom, and you got to kind of walk that thing out, man, perfectly, man. And that's how you're pleasing to the Most High. You got to walk in the spirit, man. Verse 11 says, strengthen with all might according to his glorious power unto all what? Patience and long suffering with joyfulness, right? Verse 12, giving thanks unto Yahweh, right? So you got to give thanks unto Yahweh, man, right? And how do we do this, man? How do we give thanks to Yahweh? How do we show that the Most High we're pleased? Because like he said, hey, if you don't love your brother, if you don't love your sister, then, hey, you don't love the Most High. And remember what he said in John, real quick. John chapter 9. I think it's verse 31 through the Spirit. Right? And it reads, now we know that Yahweh heareth not sinners. So if you don't love your brother and your sister, then you don't love the Most High. And if you don't love the Most High, you're a sinner. And that's willful sinning. Because it don't take nothing to love your brother and your sister. You can just tell them, hey, look, I agree to disagree, bro. And I love you. Let's keep it moving, man. Because you don't have to agree with everything, man. It says, now we know that Yahweh heareth not sinners. But if any man be a worshiper of Yahweh and doeth his will, and we went over the will already, him he heareth. So the scriptures is still just talking about the same thing over and over and over again, man. We just got to listen to the scriptures. And how do we make it pleasurable? Back to that comment, man. It says, giving thanks unto Yahweh. How do we give thanks to Yahweh, man? How do we show the Most High we're thankful of him? By loving your brother and your sisters. Let's pick that up in Galatians 6 and 1. It's no way around it, Yasharala. We're not getting out of this place until we learn how to love each other. Watch this. It's the book of Galatians chapter 6 and verse 1. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, he fell short. He damn kind of didn't, wasn't on the same term or whatever it was. It says, ye which are spiritual, we just went over what's spiritual, right? Keeping the law. You notice that your brother struggling. You know that your brother going through it. You got to spiritually to be able to see that with spiritual discernment, right? And it says, restore such an one in the spirit of meekness. You ain't got to be all full throttle. We know some of our brothers full throttle. You ain't got to go full throttle. You got to come meek. You got to come humble, right? What did it say? Considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted and yet fall off the cliff. But what was Paul talking in 6:1? He was only talking about the law. Let's pick that up in the book of Leviticus chapter 19. That's all Paul was talking about. You got to restore him in the spirit of meekness, man. What was Paul talking about in that? Leviticus chapter 19. See, people don't understand. Paul was only talking the law. Watch this. It's the book of Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. That's all Paul was talking about. Because he said, restore such a one in the spirit of meekness. Right? Because you got to be meek. He says, thou shalt anywise rebuke thy neighbor in meekness and not suffer sin upon him. And that also go into, right? You have to have those spiritual eyes to see that your brother's struggling. You which are spiritual, right? You see things that are spiritual. You can judge things. You can make a righteous judgment. A righteous judgment would be like, hey, bro, I see you struggling. Bro, let me go ahead and help you out, right? That means you're not hating your brother. If you don't do that, guess what? You're hating your brother. If you're not helping your brother out of that spiritual bondage, that spiritual situation you're going through, guess what? You kind of hate your brother, right? He says, verse 18, thou shalt not avenge, right? Nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, which is your people. But thou shalt what? Love thy neighbor as thyself. I am Yahweh. And he signed his name on that thing. He put it, and a lot of times he'll put a law, but he signed his name on that thing. I am Yahweh. Yahweh said this one. So we're going to go back to Galatians chapter 6 and verse 2. Right? Because what was he saying? Remember, as yourself. What was that law really talking about? But thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. What was he talking about? Same thing Paul was talking about. Paul gonna say the same thing. Bear ye one another's burdens. Because if my brother's going through something, I'm going through it. If my brother can't get food, I can't get food. That's why when Yahweh said, when did you feed me? When did you see me in prison? When did you clothe me? He said, when you did it to the least of your brethren. Let's go to that real quick. That's a powerful point, man, that Yahweh said that. Right? Right? Matthew 25, man. Real quick through the spirit. Because that was a great point, man. Right? It's a great point that the Adonai Yahweh said, man. Watch this. I'm going to start at verse 31. It says, this is the book of Matthew 25:31. It says, when the Son of Man shall come in his glory and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory, which means he don't have the book of life open, the book of remembrance open, whatever other books that we don't know going to be open. He's going to be looking through that thing, right? All his glory, which means the Father gave him the books to make the righteous judgment on what soul is going to make it, what soul is going to be destroyed, and so forth and so on, right? Verse 32 says, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divided his sheep from the goats. Hey, so he's going to be separating every nation, everybody, putting everybody in place and part, and pointing them out, your favorite from your least favorite, the one's going to barely make it, the one's going to be the least in the kingdom, one is going to get destroyed. And be separating that thing, man. Right? Verse 33. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, come ye blessed of my father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was a hungered, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Adawan, when saw we thee an hunger and fed thee, or thirsty and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger and took thee in, or naked and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick or in prison and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, truly I'm saying unto you, inasmuch as ye done it unto one of the least. He ain't even talking the greatest brother, not the brother that you love the most. He said, inasmuch as you have done it unto the least of these my brethren, you have done it unto me. He ain't even say your favorite brother. Not your favorite brother in the camp, not your favorite brother that you just bring scriptures around and do lessons with. No, he said the least. Mean a brother that you kind of 50-50 ball with. The brother that you know, whatever it may be. He said, as much as you did it to the least of that brother, you did it unto me. But watch this. On the flip side, then shall he say unto them on the left hand, depart from me, ye cursed, unto everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungered, and ye gave me no meat. You didn't give them the understanding of the scriptures. You ain't break that thing down. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. You ain't give them the Sirach 15:3, the wisdom, the water of wisdom, and the bread of understanding. It says, I was a stranger, and you took me not in. Naked, and you clothed me not. Sick and in prison, and ye visited me not. Then shall they also answer, saying, Adawan, when saw we thee a hunger, or a thirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer them, saying, verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did it not to one of the least of these, you did it unto me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous unto life eternal. So, hey, I'm just telling you, if you don't do these things to your brethren, and he said the least. He said the least. So if you ain't doing this unto the least of your brethren, public service announcement, like you see on my YouTube when it says breaking news. Hey, breaking news. You're not getting in. So I'm trying to land this plane. Let's go to Colossians 1:12. Back to Colossians chapter 1 and verse 12. It says, giving thanks unto the Father. And we know he don't hear sinners. If you don't love your brother and your sister, don't even pray to him. Might as well not even pray to him. Right? It says, which have made us meet. Right? What did that word meet mean? Real quick.
Strong's G 2427. Hikanao. Hikanao.
Hikanao, right? So what does it mean? It means to make sufficient. So when he said to make meat, he's meaning to make it enough. Remember on Friday it was Smokey when his mama gave him $1 and she told him to go get him some cigarettes, right? He's like, Mama, what's this? And she's like, that's for my cigarettes. He's like, cigarettes don't cost, I think it was like $2, whatever. Like, it don't cost $2. This ain't enough. And Smoking Mama said, make it enough. So the Most High made it through our sins. He made us enough. He said, so he make us meek, means to make sufficient, to render fit, to equip one with adequate power to perform duties of one, right? The definitions, it says to enable, to qualify. So it makes you qualified. Kind of like if you sign an application for a credit card. Just because you signed the application don't mean you qualify for that credit card. Kind of have a good payment history. Credit score kind of got to be at a certain percentage, right? You got to have all these things. Got to kind of have a good payment history in order to qualify, right? To qualify for this, to make able or meet, right? So that word meet means to qualify or make you to actually be, or to make you sufficient. You're sufficient, you are enough, right? So it says, giving thanks unto the Father, which have made us meet or sufficient or to qualify, to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light. So he made us qualified to be partakers to the saint of light, right? Verse 13, right? It says, who have delivered us from the power of darkness and have translated us into the kingdom of his dear son. So that's why there had to be a second covenant, because that first covenant, right? We didn't meet the standards because we were killing animals day by day. Right? Let me give you a quick precept. I'll show you the spirit, right? Because we didn't qualify, right? Our credit was jammed up, man. Because watch, I'm going to show you. We're jamming our credit up with bad purchases. Watch this. It's the book of Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 1. It says, for the law having a shadow of good things to come and not the very image of the things, right? So this is still going back into the two great commandments, one being the Father and the Son, right? The first covenant was the Father, and the second covenant would be the Son, right? This is parable and dark sayings again. It says, for the law having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the things, right? The very image would be in Colossians, right? That I'm going to show you. Can never with those sacrifices, let me reread that. For the law having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never, let me repeat that, can never with those sacrifices which they offered year by year continually, make the comers thereunto perfect. So we would have never made the kingdom with the first covenant. Why? I'm going to show you. I'm going to give you a prime example of how wicked we were. This is how wicked we were. And this is why it can never make us perfect. It's the book of Job, chapter 1. This is how wicked we were. Right? It's the book of Job, chapter 1 and verse 2. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east. Watch this. I'm gonna pull this up in another translation so you can see what I'm talking about. That's how wicked we was, man. I want to say the NIV might be good. Watch this. This is just how wicked we was, man. Right? It's the book of Job, chapter 1 and verse 3 in the NIV. Right? It says, and he owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of, let me make it a little bit bigger. It's the book of Job, chapter 1 and verse 3. And he owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 donkeys, and had a large number of servants. He was the greatest man among all the people of the east. Verse 4. His sons used to hold feasts in their homes on their birthdays. That's how wicked we were. And they would invite their three sisters to eat and drink with them. Right? So we know that, hey, if you look in the pagan Bible or the devil's Bible, right, it'll tell you that the number one holiday of Satan worshipers is your birthday. It's the number one because you put yourself above everybody or everything. You're being put on a pedestal in your worship, being worshipped by everybody as idols. Right? Let me prove it real quick. Right? Let me see if I can see. Birthday. In Devil Bible. Sock Israel. Top commandment. Let me see. Trying to think how to word it. See if that'll be good enough. No, not that. Let me see. Let me see. In, should I say, in pagan. I'm trying to think of the name. What can I do? Let me see. I can't think of birthday. In Satanism. I gotta show you this. The founder of the Church of Satan proclaimed that one's birthday is the highest of all holidays in the satanic religion. This perspective reinforces the idea that birthdays are not just secular or cultural celebrations, but carry a significant religious connotation. Right? So, hey, I just wanted to show you that, how wicked Job's situation was. Watch this. This is how wicked it was. Verse 4. Job chapter 1, verse 4. Sons used to hold feasts in their homes on their birthdays, and they would invite their three sisters to eat and drink with them. Verse 5. When a period of feasting had run its course, Job would make arrangements for them to be purified. Hey, and it was because he had all them sheep, all them oxen, all them goats, like he had the means to. He says, early in the morning, he would sacrifice a burnt offering for each of them, thinking perhaps my children have sinned and cursed Yahweh in their hearts. This was Job's regular. Let me repeat that. This was Job's regular custom. That means he was premeditating sin. He knew every year at that time they was doing this. That's how wicked we was. So let's go back to that Hebrew so we can get that understanding. It's the book of Hebrews 10:1. For the law, having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never with those things sacrifices which they offer year by year continually make the comers thereunto perfect. So it wouldn't make us perfect. Why? Because we're so wicked. We already was premeditating sin. We literally were premeditating sin. That's how wicked we was. So let's go back to Colossians, right? Colossians 1 and verse 12. And it reads, who have delivered us, 13 slacking, 1 and 13. It's book Colossians chapter 1 and verse 13. And it reads, who have delivered us from the power of darkness and have translated us into the kingdom of his dear son. And that's why he had to do that. Because if we'd have continued in that first covenant, nobody would have made it. All of Israel would have been dead. Because eventually we'd have did something that would have broke a commandment that was to death. Right? Verse 14. In whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sins. Watch this. Who is the image of the invisible Yahweh, the firstborn of every creature. Right? So, so that new covenant is going to be the firstborn of every creature. Right? And everybody that's going to get that inward part is going to be a part of it, is going to be the firstborn of who? Because if Yahweh is the firstborn in the express image of Yahweh, then in order for us to get in, right, we would have to be what? The image of who? Yahweh Shai. Let me show you that. Right? 2 Corinthians 3 and 18. Right? 2 Corinthians 3 and 18. All right. I'm going to start at verse 17. It's the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 17 and 18. It says, now the Adawan, right, now Yahushua is that spirit. And where the spirit of Yahushua is, there is liberty. So there is grace wherever that spirit is. But we all with open face beholding as in a glass the glory of Yahushua are changed into the same image from glory to glory, even as by the spirit of Yahweh. So, that spirit will change us into the same. So when Yahweh looks at us, he'll actually be looking at Yahweh Shai. And he won't be looking at us. Because if he looked at us, there would be a blemish. There would be a punishment because we can't be perfect. But if we allow Yahweh Shai, walk like Yahweh Shai, right? Then when Yahweh looks at us, he doesn't see us. He sees Yahweh Shai because he sees that spirit. He don't see Yahweh, right? Because then we will be that body and Yahweh Shai will be that head. And that's why he would see Yahweh Shai, because Yahweh Shai would be that face he would see, right? So let me get Hebrews chapter 1, right? Hebrews chapter 1. And let me start at verse number. I'm going to start at verse 1. Hebrews 1 and 1. It says, Yahweh, who in sundry times and in diverse manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets. And what did he say? He said he taught us to love our brothers and our sisters from the beginning. That's the sundry times. That's in the time past. He used it by the fathers. He used it by the prophets. He used it by the apostles. He used it by the teachers. And he's still using it by his servants, which hopefully we are his friends. If we do everything that he told us to love our brothers and our sisters, right? Verse 2. Have in last days spoken unto us by his son, whom he have appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds. And we know he's talking about this world as well as the world of Israel. Verse 3, who being the brightness of his glory, right? And that's what the Yahweh sees. Like I brought out in Corinthians. Yahweh sees his son, the glory of his son, the righteousness of his son when he looks at us, if we're walking according to the law. Right? It says, and the express image of his person, and upholding all things by the word of his power. So the Most High got to uphold everything that he says in the scripture. Right? He has to uphold it all. Right? It says, when he had by himself purged our sins, sat down on the right hand of the majesty on high. So, that's how we have to be seen by the Most High. we have to be seen with that blood over us. Because once we cover by that blood, the Most High only sees Yahweh Shai, right? And let me get my closing precept. I pray through the Spirit that somebody can receive this and that the Most High gives them the increase, man. Because it's not me, it's the Most High. I pray that the Most High use me in a righteous vessel to bring his word out the best way I could, right? Because we have to love our brothers. We have to love our sister if we want to get out of here. Because through the Spirit, I think everybody's sealed, man. But we just don't love each other. And if we don't love each other, guess what? We're not, nobody's sealed. Because it's a bunch of murderers running around Israel. We got 144,000 and elect murderers. That's what it is. Just like that. The book of St. John, chapter 1 and verse 1. Right? And it's going back into the two great commandments. In the beginning was the Word, which was Yahweh. And the Word was with Yahweh, and the Word was Yahweh. And the same was in the beginning with Yahweh. So through the Spirit, the Most High revealed to me that Yahweh Shai came down here to teach everybody the Word. And the Word was Yahweh. So giving all honor, glory, and praise to the Most High, man, for that understanding. Hey, I pray that the Most High allowed you to see what I just said, because Yahweh sent Yahweh Shai down here to teach all of Yasharallah the word. And guess what? Yahweh is that word. So we're teaching the word to bring Yahweh back to reverence in this last day. So we want to give all honor and praise to Yahweh by Hashem, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. I pray that, hey, somebody got understanding. Hey, and with that being said, we came to establish the law.